Hey guys, this is Sailesh and thank you so much for watching this video. Another episode in the one-shot series. Today's episode, we are going to look at the piece that was created in the previous episode. So if you haven't seen that one, then I advise you to watch it. Here is a handy link for you to click on and you can get on with that whilst we get on with this episode. So all of the guys that have watched that episode, hello. We are going to take that face that we created in the previous episode and we're basically going to progress it a little bit, add some shading. Today's episode is not real time, unfortunately, because the process portion of the video took 40 minutes, which is way too long for anybody to sit through and kind of stay awake. So I wanted it to be as informative as the previous episode, so I sped it up to 10 minutes and I'll be talking through that, but it won't be in real time, as it were. It's going to be me doing a voiceover basically like this. So for this piece, I've kind of used a photo reference. It's this image that you see now. It's Beyoncé. And basically we're kind of understanding how light affects a face and how shadows are occurred and how, the face structure is insinuated through that. So that is what I'm looking for when I'm looking at the photo reference and kind of referring to the sketch that I did. So here is the process. Enjoy and follow me on the various places that you see on the screen right now. And here it is. Thank you. Hey, so basically I'm going to talk over this video that I just did, basically commentating on what I see, because I've forgotten. But I think I explained the shade that I'm using, which is a very, very light orange. And it's basically the first color that I'll be using with the watercolor and the pencil stylus. And doing a wash initially, as you saw, over the face shape. And then I'm going over sections where I see, with the photo reference in mind, where the depths of the face occur. So just going over sections again and again. And with the watercolor tool, you can kind of, it's like a multiply effect, basically. It kind of intensifies the actual shade as you keep going over that section. So that's what's happening right now. And I'm kind of deepening sections, and that enables sections to kind of raise due to that. So there I'm kind of doing the side of the face, creating the cheekbone, and then the lower lip, the kind of the raised part of the lower lip with that shading underneath. And it's a case of just kind of constantly referring to the photo reference throughout. And there you can see I'm creating my own under eyeball kind of space, and then I'm doing the cheek, and it is fascinating. The more you see a real life example like this, which is the Beyoncé photo, which I don't know why I find funny, by the way. I find Beyoncé really, really, really amazing. But anyway, back to this. So looking at a face and how it's lit up, you wouldn't think the subtle differences would kind of amount to so much, but having one side of the face slightly lit more than the other creates these amazing shapes and kind of looks. They create various things, and it's just really, really cool to see how that kind of doing a stroke here and there kind of insinuates various different muscles and features of a face, and it's fascinating. It really is. So I am still kind of using the same shade here, just building up slowly, and it's crazy. I mean, if you do kind of see it from the start and how it ends up, this video is fascinating, to be honest. And I'm not blowing smoke up my own whatever, but it is like I am always fascinated by making ofs, and I get fascinated by my own making ofs, to be honest, as well. But yeah, this is a very therapeutic process as well. After the line is very, very paranoid filled and making sure things are correct and constantly looking at every single line to make sure, you know, whether I'm going to regret that choice or not. This portion of the whole thing is very therapeutic, and it's a case of sitting in silence, which I don't do. I listen to music, watch TV, as you may have seen in the previous videos, but just sitting there, taking in your reference, constantly looking at it, and just going back to the canvas on the tablet and just kind of applying your take of, you know, what you see. It's really cool, and yeah, definitely try it if you haven't done that. As I said, the photo reference wasn't present in the previous episode because I figured I wouldn't need it. But then that episode got quite a lot of love, which I really, really appreciate, and people wanted me to progress it. So I figured rather than me kind of figuring out light sources and such, just kind of go for it with a photo reference to make the whole process a bit more easier for me and make it a bit more, you know, give it some meaning and justification for what I'm doing for you guys to see. So it doesn't seem like I'm crazy or anything. And then it just cuts out all the indecision from my side, which there is a lot of generally. And there is some in this as well, because you see something and you kind of decide whether you should kind of include it in this or not. It's a lot of it's quite hard to explain, but just taking something from a photo reference and then applying it to the actual piece itself is quite an interesting thing to think about. Obviously, you're not going to do a photorealistic piece, and that'll take hours and hours, and probably would certainly drive me mad. But yes, we are adding. Oh, well, now we're adding the light. Sorry, I didn't mention that. But you can see, yeah, I've taken to the white color and used the paintbrush tool and kind of watercolor tool even, and added the highlights to the face. And now I'm adding color to the lips. And these are very, very pale shades, and it's just kind of building up to something a bit more kind of substantial, but the whole kind of slow build-up is really, really interesting. And initially you wouldn't think, you know, such a light color would kind of create these great gestures and deep kind of visuals, but they do, the more you work it up. I'm sure other people would kind of say, why not just skip a few steps and use a darker color? But I don't know, I find building up to something like this a lot more, it just makes a lot more sense. And there I'm adding a wash of a kind of a yellowy tinged peach cheek color. It's a bit weird, but I kind of mixed in a bit of yellow and a bit of a darker orange into the initial color that I used, and then washed over it just to bring everything together. And now I'm going over that again with a highlight, but just touching up the very highest of highlights, as it were, just to kind of bring some of it out. Before it was very, very contrasty. It was very white and very dark, but now I've kind of added that wash, brought it all together a bit, and then now what you see now is I'm adding like super highlights, where it's just kind of touching the edges of that kind of the peaks of the face. And where the kind of light catches the most. And with everything that is new, you know, it's a learning curve that's involved. It's a learning thing, and using the pencil stylus, it is quite interesting, quite tricky at first, you know, holding which angle and such, because, you know, you utilize the surface pressure functionality, but the more you use it, the easier it is to understand. And if you do have one, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it is slightly tricky to get the right kind of thing that you want, the right stroke that you want. But the more you kind of use it, I haven't mastered it myself, but the more you do use it, the easier it is. And now I'm using my finger to blend in the sections that I've kind of done. I don't go crazy and blend the whole thing. I kind of use the loop and go right inside into the face and kind of concentrate on sections. And just figuring out how it should be blended the best way, you know, the best way to blend it. Looking at the face again on the photo reference, and just figuring out how far I stretch out a certain aspect of of the light. And with the blend, you can kind of manipulate the shape of something a bit more than you would normally. That is what you kind of get with the pencil stylus. It's really cool. It's really interesting as well. You know, you can do something initially and then kind of smudge it in a way that will kind of change it totally, even. And now I've finished the initial blending process and I'm adding darks again over the top. Well, not darks, the initial color I'm adding over it, which is a lot darker now because of all the stuff that I've added. And yeah, I'm just kind of balancing between smoothness and kind of harshness with the strokes and the smooth blended sections, because I feel if it was all smooth then it would just be too shiny and fake. So I'm kind of adding various darks and lights to it now. As you can see, I'm struggling with the chin. I think the pencil stylus was playing up on me for some reason. It was blending instead of applying the actual colour for some reason. But I don't know, I think I gave up, to be honest. But now I'm adding darks again. And yeah, this is almost coming to an end. As you can see, there's quite a lot to take in, so please do replay it. But I don't think I've explained it enough. But do let me know what you guys think of this video. That would help. The next part of this session is going to be focusing on the eyes. And I haven't done that video yet, but I think I'll focus on one eye and talk through it, so it's a lot more easier to kind of comprehend than this kind of video. But yeah, please let me know what you guys think. It's very, very good to know whether I'm doing the things correctly. And yeah, there you can see I'm using the colouring pencil and the surface pressure now to kind of add a bit more of a subtler shade of white over everything and then blending that. So yeah, so here it is, the piece that is complete for this episode. Obviously it's not a finished face yet, but I've added shading to an extent. Obviously beyond this point I think the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to do the eyes next and the lips as well, maybe, or that might be a different episode. And then after that there'll be a finishing touches kind of round where I go about the whole face and kind of shade it and kind of add colouring pencil tweaks and stuff like that. So yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Follow, like, subscribe, comment, all of that jargon, all the power words, yes, and thank you for watching.